explain it, and I said it was like love. If you can explain it, then you don't really know what it is. And usually now that I explain it, I tell people it's an experience. Not sure what it's based on. It's just something that I can feel, and I've been feeling since I was about 10 years old. And I know go-go because of how it feels. That's all I know.
Go-go to me, being surrounded by percussion. It's percussion driven. Congos, drums, cowbells, tambourine, followed with the music and grooving with the beat. Non-stop music, no breaks with go-go. Only if we take a break, that's the only time we stop. You know, the beat stops. That's go-go.
Well, I'll say go-go is a style of music. Go-go is twofold. It's a style of music, and it's a way of life. It's a whole culture. And the reason I say that, it's a style of music of bands, live band, very percussive driven. But everything about it is about the culture, the way they talk, the way they dance to the music, the stuff that they say in the music, the way they perform the music. It's all about the culture that came from this DC metropolitan area. So everything about go-go is all about the culture. Whatever's going on in the culture shows in the music, almost like with any other genre of music. And it's just a percussive driven. It's not new, because percussive driven isn't new. It comes from the 70s, and that's where the band started during the 70s, the late 70s. So that's what I would say is a percussive driven music that's culturally driven.
Oh wow, go-go is, for starters, the greatest beat to ever come across this earth. Even better than a salsa beat, which to me probably is the second greatest beat. It has full of rhythms, it's based with percussions on the bottom, and different bands put different things on top. Like Familiar Places puts R&B on top, Backyard puts rap on top, Chuck Brown put blues on top. So different people put different things on top, and then you add in a little call and response and crowd participation. You add in the fact that the music never stops in between songs. That way you can stay on the dance floor and dance the whole night. Go-go is just a culmination of incredible things coming together, and I'm proud to say I'm part of it.
We go two-step, 8-5-5, put me in the 5-5.
Right.
How do you write down?
I mean, that's true. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, because when you're in the pocket, you're in the zone. It's like you're in the zone. The pocket is it's a musical term, and it's a musical term when you're dealing with a band, a group of people, and it's almost like, I don't know if anybody noticed, but somebody who always talked about keeping something in the pocket with their music was Frankie Beverly and Maze. You know, he would say, I'm feeling you, keep it in the pocket, I'm feeling, you know what I'm saying? Because the pocket is almost something like, and it's almost the way you just explained about the funk thing. It's almost like making love, you know what I'm saying? And when you're making love with a woman and all that kind of stuff. And you in the movement and you're moving around trying to get in the right position. And finally, boom, you in that right position. It's like, yeah, there it is. You know, and you don't want to, don't move, don't budge, don't shift. Keep it right there.
Don't you say, don't say nothing. Don't touch me. Don't touch me, don't move. Don't do nothing. Just hold still. Don't hold. No. Don't. Sweet, hold on.
And that's how a pocket is with music. It's everybody is on the same vibe, zone, wavelength. You know what I'm saying? It's the skeleton or the essence of any song. Every song has a pocket, if you can find that pocket. And because you can feel it. It's a feel type of thing. So when you're in that pocket, you're just right there. You know, it's just so tight, and you don't want it to move, and just keep rising in that pocket. And go-go, since go-go is very percussive driven, it's that percussion that with the congas and the drums kind of make love to each other. You see what I'm saying? And they right there. And it's and I say it's the skeleton essence of music, because there's nothing crazy on top. No drum rolls, no breakdowns. It's just right there. That's my definition of the pop.
When we saw you a couple summers ago, one of the things that attracted me to that symposium you were doing was that you were talking about the evolution of go-go from Africa to today, and then the evolution of go-go within go-go, the changes that have occurred to the pocket, etc. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I ain't gonna say we. Some of us like to say. You might have the young people that came out in the 90s, and their pocket is what we call a hype beat back in the 80s, which is mostly on a high Congo. Most bands played, you know, like Bustin' Loose was like almost an African beat, you know, an African rhythm. But then they added the high Congo. Jungle Boogie used to play, you know, I don't know, like the 101, all that. It's been out. I mean, it's the high Congo. But then you had Northeast Grooves coming up saying, give me the pocket, which their pocket changed. So their generation thinks the pocket is bop, 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 when it's really not the pocket. The pocket is played basically on the three congos or the two big ones. That's the pocket. Like, if you listen to Frankie Beverly, you know he don't have no high congos up there. And he's always keeping it in the pocket. Keeping it to beat in the pocket. That's just making sure his band, the drummer, the congos, everything is locked. Just like we have lock it in the pocket of the socket. It's all, you know, but like it changed somewhere in the 90s. I want to say Northeast Grooves basically in their generation, or maybe Backyard, you know. But well, Backyard, you know what? They have that old 80s field pocket. They nasty when it comes to that field. They not really too much. They can do it, the hype thing, but when it's pocket time, they can lock it. But it's changes back. It's like me. I came up in both generations, so I can throw something from 80s that they were like, what? That thing is new, but I already know it's some old. You know, say, what is that you doing? I'm like, that's old. That's such and such. You know?
Well, I would say because DC has always been a live music place, and that goes back to Duke Ellington or who else, Bo Diddley or whoever. It was always a live band, and I've said this a lot of times. For as far as I can remember, and even before my time, there were always live bands, marching bands. So it was real heavy in schools. Every neighborhood had kids starting the bands. You know what I'm saying? I guess maybe DC, we had access, because of schools mainly, we had access to instruments, whereas other areas like New York and hip-hop, they didn't have access to instruments, but they had access to records and turntables. So they made do with what they had. And that's the same thing with go-go. So when you're talking back in the 70s during the live band era in music period, in R&B music, where there's Earth, Wind and Fire or Brass Construction or Mandrill or War, it was always live and it was always percussive driven. Kool and the Gang, the early Cameo, you can just name them. The early band called Pleasure Switch, it was always a live band type thing. So that was just what it was happening in the DC area. And that's the biggest thing about it, is that live band thing has never stopped yet since the 70s. It may have formed into other styles of music, mainly go-go, but you have a lot of jazz still going on. You know, if some of the schools still got music, you still got the marching bands going on. And I think that's the reason why. It's just always been picking up an instrument and learning how to instrument, in many cases self-teaching. and with your friends and stuff, and it was always that band environment.
First of all, thank you for doing the interview. I wanted to start with, I read just recently that you've been called in the James Brown of Go-Go. Could you tell us a little bit of just a quick summary, if you would, an insufficient summary of your career and why that title might apply to you?
Well, you know, I've been doing it since 1979, so I'm not sure what the years equal. I know it's got to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 32, 33 years, and I came up through the ranks with Rare Essence from 97 to 2001. And, you know, I started out as a saxophone player, playing with the great Little Benny and John Bighorn Jones. And, you know, I slowly built my way up to becoming a rapper and a talker in the band. And so, you know, I don't liken myself to James Brown. He's a talented guy, but I do work hard, so I don't mind taking that part of it. He was a hard-working guy, and I do try to work as hard as I possibly can.
Long story, I'll just make it short. Googie, Greg Burton, our sound man for us, the Chuck Brown Band. Back when I was 14, 15, I was throwing rocks in the alley, but I can, you know, get on the drums and play. You know, my father taught me how to play the drums when I was 2, so I was a drummer first. Like I said, I used to go watch the reality band. I used to go watch them play. The Congo player got fired, which I had no Congos. Googie was like, you get some Congos, you can play with the band. So me being spoiled, my grandmother took me to Chuck Levis where everybody go. Got me 4 brand new Congos. And that was the start right there, back like in 81, 82. Been doing it ever since.
Who have you not played with in go-go music?
I play with everybody. It depends. I mean, from TCB to Junkyard to Backyard, Trouble Funk, Chuck Brown, EU. I was with Rare Essence, so Northeast Grooves, all of everybody.
And you're talking once again when you're talking bands in the 70s. And this was pre-Go-Go in a sense, you can say, yeah, pre-Go-Go as we know it is today. But you had bands like, with Chuck Brown was with a group called Los Latinos, and then he started his own group called Soul Searchers. But you had other groups like Black Heat, the Young Senators. It was just as many bands as there are Go-Go and Go-Go today. There were that many then. And one of the biggest things...
What were they playing?
They were playing, back then we called it top 40. Now we call it covers, but it's the same thing. They were playing top 40s, you know, and they were playing in the cabaret gigs and stuff like that. One of the things that Chuck did, which kind of the beginning or the foundation of creating Go-Go, was he decided to play percussion. When he finished a song, right, he decided, instead of stopping the song like, you know how they play a song, and we're going to play this song, and then we're going to stop, and then we're going to say thank you very much and all this, going to do this and play the next song. This was during the time where bands were competing with DJs. Now when a DJ can play a record and mix it to the next record, hence keeping the people on the dance floor. So what Chuck Brown decided to do, in competing with what the DJs were doing, competing for the work, the jobs, is when he finished a song, he immediately go into the percussion parts of the next song they gonna play. And he, in that percussion little interlude, you could say, he would do kind of what the DJs do, you know, talk to the people in the crowd, I see y'all out there, whatever. And that became basically a interlude in between the songs that the crowd kind of started liking more than the songs themselves, because it's almost like the way you in church, when a preacher in church, he'll call somebody out and all that kind of stuff. People love getting put on display and being recognized, and that's what Chuck would do in between the songs. And therefore, those little interludes that may have been 5 minutes, grown to 10 minutes, become 20 minutes of straight percussion. And would deal with Chuck or whoever's on the front line and the audience in the crowd like that. So that's how it kind of became that whole go-go thing. Now, you know, those stories I heard back then, it was known as Chuck's beat. You know, if a band was playing, they say, "Oh, you playing Chuck's beat." You know what I'm saying? Because Chuck Brown and the Soul Searchers were a band that was known to be doing that. And you had other bands that kind of picked up. It's funny because some bands decided to play that style. And I would say bands like Trouble Funk, Red Essence, Experience Unlimited. And then there were other bands that decided not to play that style. And then the funny thing about it is the bands who didn't play that style are the bands who fell off as the years progressed. And the ones who decided to play that style are the ones who kept pushing and kept being popular in the areas and the clubs. You know, during that time, a lot of bands who weren't playing that style, they were more into the Morris Day and Time sound. You know what I'm saying? And some, you know, went on to do their thing. Arnell Bird and them. They had a group called Mannequin. They was doing pretty good. But here in the city, it wasn't getting no kind of love like it was with that go-go thing, you know.
So we just did an interview with D. Floyd, and I told him I had read somewhere that he's considered, somebody at least considered him the James Brown of go-go. So if that's the case, then you would have to be Stubblefield then, right?
Well, they call me the Michael Jordan. That's what they you know, people call me the Michael Jordan of the Congo. So I'll take that one, or the GOAT. I got two names. I got a lot more names, but
those two work.
Yeah, everybody call me mostly the GOAT.
So tell us about the GOAT-ness of what you do. That is, how is it that you have become the signature defining percussionist of go-go, and what does that mean?
Well, one thing with me, I'm not scared to make mistakes. A mistake, I can make it on stage, and you will never catch it unless you are a percussionist. Some might catch it, some might not. And I will keep messing it up until I get it right. And that's how a lot of my stuff come about. Mistakes. I corrected it on stage, and I don't really do too much practicing at home. Really, never with the band. I don't like talking about that, but you know, they call me Allen Iverson. Well, it's practice, but that's not the case. It's just on a bad day for me, so that's why I don't go to practice. But another thing with me, people don't know, I like to, if I hear the words to the song, I might make a beat to whatever the words are. A lot of times the band, people don't notice it at all until they listen and say, that sounds like the words to the song. So that's what I do. I've been doing it for, you know, I can let the secret out now. I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, playing, making my beats mostly to the words, whatever song was going on.
When I was growing up, my father used to come to DC. We're from Baltimore originally, but I was born in '78, so go-go had already been created by the time I'm learning about what my father's doing, going from Baltimore to DC to play in different bands, and he would sing and play drums for different bands. And I was too young to know the names of any of them, but I know he wasn't necessarily a go-go person. He was a top 40 person. So eventually, he stopped going to DC to play with top 40 bands, and it was always gospel bands. So I'm wondering if he was part of that crew that just didn't follow with the go-go thing, and he just went gospel to keep making some money.
It could have been, because a lot of people thought that was just some kind of fad. Oh man, that's you know,
this was like early '80s.
Yeah, exactly. That was exactly around that time, and there was some who was true blue to the top 40 that they were playing, and you know, that was more like a fad or whatever. You know how when something new come in, but you already think you on the right track of what you're doing. Well, women have always been in go. The first time I ever seen a go-go band play was a band called Red Essence, and there was a female up there singing with her. Her name was Bunny. That was in '79. So you had Hot Cold Sweat, who, you know, Lenore was singing with them. So you had bands that would have a female singer, or at least they would bring her on to do a couple of sets. Some bands she was on the whole set. Some band they were calling on to do a few sets. And then, like I said, one of the bands that had a female was Hot Cold Sweat, and Charlie Fenwick basically came up with the idea of putting together an all-female band, and that was the band called Pleasure. I'm gonna say that was a little more like in the 80, maybe 87, 88, something around that time. That was the first all-female go-go band that every member in the group were women. And then it started picking up after that when other women were saying, okay, wow. And the way it was going, other women started doing the same thing. So you had a band called Clicks, you had Precise, you had Synquicity, and there were quite a few more. Still, you got one or two still today, one called SOS. And they showed that basically, you know, that whole, you know, Beyonce independent woman type of thing. They showed that they could do it too, you know what I'm saying, and they could be sexy with it, and that's what it was. They were sexy with it.
Gentrification in Washington, D.C. has definitely played a part, but not in shutting us out in the venues, but in taking away our crowd, because when we were inside of D.C. and it was predominantly black, it was pretty easy to go and grab the minds and the imagination of those kids. Now they've been run out into Prince George's County, Charles County, and so they're far more spread out, and it's far more difficult to, you know, to bring them together and raise them up in this great genre called go-go.
My take with the gentrification thing is more about being in the academic world. You know, when I see academics who write about it, or journalists, or people who are, and I know we don't necessarily use the term outsiders a lot, but some people who do use it as go-go as a commodity. So it's something to write about, something to report on, something to bring into other arenas where people who grew up in go-go and created go-go aren't really invited. It's something that is taken to be put on display for other people so they can say, hey, wow, look at that. But then they get grant money from it, they get attention from it, they get further in their careers from it, but it's not necessarily for a type of people who create and sustain go-go for all this time.
Yeah, all the clubs almost shut down in D.C. We don't, let me see, do we play in D.C. now? I don't even think we have a show in D.C. Everything is shut down, the Black Holes, the Metro Club, even Club U. And then we got the Maryland Trade Winds shut down.
Put me on Deuce, L.O.V.
Heard of that. When I was trying to get I was actually trying to get a funk band, Gotta See Us. I was saying, oh, I'm gonna find a place, because I was doing a promotion called The Art of Go-Go, and I did experience this was maybe 2012, trying to go asking people, you know, I have a band, blah blah blah, and they would say, is it go-go? Because you know that makes people go crazy. And these are black people, black club owners telling me this. Because that makes people go crazy. So, you know, I don't want that here. I'm like, nah, it's a funk band. I got to go, well, let me see a video of them then. And I did go through that, but that wasn't gentrification. These were people born and raised in D.C., black people with a D.C. accent telling me go-go makes people go crazy. So, you know, we don't want that here. So that's why I just wouldn't blame gentrification for that. That was black D.C. people who did that. They just told me that go-go makes people go crazy. That they believe go-go makes people violent. And this was just 3 people. So I'm picking that out of a city full of whatever. But that was enough of an impact to be like, wow, that's crazy. And not to mention hearing other people just say, oh, you mess with go-go. Even doing the art of go-go with other people who I knew raised on go-go. They like it from a distance, black people. not like, what is it going to be? And they want to know all these details about it before they would say, I would come there to a go-go, because they believed that it will be violent.
No, but that's not because of gentrification. That's because of generation gap. You see what I'm saying? This is, for example, go-go has always been all over the years hot and heavy on PA tapes hitting the streets. So you had another generation that grew up in their house as babies, and they hearing all this go-go. You couldn't go up and down the street without hearing it out of somebody's car or boombox. That's not it no more. Go-go doesn't. It's almost like the same time that hip hop was heavily releasing mixtapes, go-go bands was pulling back on releasing PA tapes for whatever reasons. They may have valid reasons. Some may say, well, you know, when you put a PA tape out, a person can make copies and go out and sell them themselves. So people didn't want where they making money off of us or whatever. But that's the game, you know what I'm saying? So I think what happens is, because I got kids, you know, we got kids. Us who grew up in go-go, who got kids, and the youngins are not into it like we were when we were young. It's not the big thing. To them, it's just like any other form of music. To us, it was special when it was ours. To them, yeah, we got this, but we got that, and we got that.
So you saying the PA tapes aren't distributed and made as much anymore?
Oh, no.
So
I think that played a part in it. I think that played a part in go-go being able to sustain over the years that it's did.
I see that as even part of this gentrification issue, because where are the locations in the city that still exist where you could sell PA tapes?
They may not. That's where technology comes in, as far as I'm concerned. It's almost like
there are no record stores.
But they didn't stop. They didn't just stop doing PA tapes. You know what I'm saying? Every blue moon, you know, some sprinkle out. But there was a time when you would get a PA tape of almost every day of the week of a band. You get a Northeast Grooves. You look at a catalog of Northeast Grooves PA tapes during the 90s. And they would, in Junkyard and Backyard, they were coming out, because they were playing like 4 nights a week. And they were coming out just like that. So they were flooding it.
And just like, but with technology, I think with everybody else in their terms of music. So with me working in local radio, you know, we talked about how radio is not so local anymore. Everything is not so local. With the internet, everything is global. Everything is worldwide. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to be the famous one worldwide. Mm-hmm. So all the local radio stations, you know, a lot of things were syndicated. Everything's just not so much local anymore, and I think that also puts more that
plays
generation gap.
That plays a big part of it. Yeah, you'll get it. You see what I'm saying? But and that radio has always been a problem when it comes to. I mean, they'll play it to benefit them, and I'm not gonna say it's the DJ's fault. The DJ got to do what the program director and manager tell him to do, but. It's never been in no heavy rotation. That was a big hurt to me for go-go. That's a good question. It's kind of funny because I was just thinking this the other day.
He talks about it all the time.
Yeah.
So
it was something that was going on. That
it was something about violence.
It was something. I was looking at a clip online of Chuck D talking, and when you think of songs, and it hit me. I said, go-go every time somebody put a go-go song out, it's always about the party and the fun, or the freaky-deek all night long, or that kind of stuff. But never. That's a good question.
Well, Junkyard had Word. It's like I can pick out one song.
But that was like 30 years ago.
That's why I said I could pick out that one song.
Yeah. That's what Mumble Sauce probably would have still been doing that kind of stuff. Because that message is always in their music. Mm-hmm. See, when you think of Mumble Sauce, they, you know, the whole thing, do you believe in miracles or whatever, welcome to D. There was always messages in their song. It wasn't just about the party and freaky digging all night long. But, you know, and there have been times here, you might have a song, they have something going on, you'll have the, you know, DC don't stand for Dodge City type stuff. But I understand what you're saying, because I would like to see it on an ongoing, regular basis. I think even people who politically may be against GoGo or have the wrong image of GoGo, because I honestly think that GoGo needs to rebrand itself. But I think that would help the image of it. You know what I'm saying?
We kind of fill, I think that we fill that role on 99 and Kato. You know, we have a radio show, and we've been on and off radio partners since '98, since WTGO, and we never shy away from that. So, you know, we play go-go music, and then we talk about politics in the middle, and play go-go music. So that's part of what we do to try to fill that role. But I mean, bands and musicians do have they have their own role to fill as far as that goes, but we don't know why.
Yeah, that's a good question. But I do believe that if they were on it, regardless, and you know, there are a few people like Ron Moulton who would be. If matter of fact, if you see him doing, it's because Ron Moulton is behind it in some kind of form or fashion. I would love to see that much more.
Hold up.
And you get a lot of answers to that. From what I understand, GoGo was like another name for Cabaret.
I just think of that song, Going to a Go-Go.
Yeah, Smokey Robinson in the 60s had, and that was 60s, Going to the Go-Go. That was just the Cabaret. That was the name of the place. And because Chuck was playing real heavy at the Cabaret during the early days, like Burn Manor and stuff, that was at the Go-Go. I don't know who decided to name the music that event, but that's basically, again, comes from Chuck.